A mom and a daughter are spending a peaceful time here. Sharon is a precious and lovely only daughter of Rose. But actually, since she adopted Sharon from an orphanage, Sharon has shown abnormal symptoms. Sharon hears voices of someone calling her and she suffers from nightmares, and she almost killed herself during severe sleepwalking. So her family found the place called Silent Hill where Sharon murmurs every night. And one midnight, Rose goes to the strange town without plans with Sharon. At sudden, a police officer stops them. Silent Hill has been blocked from outside after an accident happened long time ago, so they usually don't allow people to enter. But to Rose, stopping her daughter's nightmare is more important than other things, so she ignores and presses her accelerator. And at the moment, the radio goes crazy and Rose gets involved in an accident. She awakens to see things around her have completely changed, and both the cop who had been chasing her and Sharon were gone. The fog-shrouded Silent Hill is oddly silent and she didn't sense anyone around. Rose looks through the town to find her daughter, and suddenly she hears siren sounds throughout the town. After then, darkness covers the sky as the ominous siren sounds. Rose is drawn to somewhere and she continues to track her daughter. It's so spooky, and she comes across someone and follows, but she is held by a hanging corpse which is damaged cruelly. Right next to her, things that don't look like humans start to screech and they fill up her surroundings. To Rose, her experiences and the things she has seen don't seem real, but the memories are too vivid to deny. When the darkness is gone, when she is returning to get out of this horrible town, she faces a cliff and there's an abyss in front of the cliff. And then one senile woman talks to her. It seems that she knows well about this town, so right away Rose asks her to find her daughter.
They did terrible things to her.
Sharon, please.
It's mine. It's mine! Get out!
A crazy woman who insists that Sharon is her daughter, and creatures in the form of monsters are moving around in this mysterious Silent Hill. Rose is completely isolated here, and when she attempts to call with her dead mobile phone continuously, the cop Sybil who had restrained her appears again.
Put both hands on the wheel. Get out of the car.
Jesus, what are you doing?
Sybil doesn't know what's happening here, so she doesn't listen to Rose nor trust her.
Just calm right down. I'm gonna find the little girl.
However, the ground has turned into cliffs by supernatural power, and all the direction ends with cliffs, so the cliffs tell Rose and Sybil that they might have entered here by chance, but they cannot get out at will. Despite that, Sybil doesn't give up and attempts to find the exit. At the moment, one entity approaches slowly.
Stop!
Checked close, and the entity doesn't have two arms, and it gushes out strange liquid through the hole in its chest. When the cop is fighting against the monster, Rose runs away and runs straight to the school she saw in Sharon's painting. Hideous monsters are appearing in many places in the town, so Sharon must be in bigger danger. Therefore, although Rose is an ordinary mom, she can't just hide from monsters. Behind the ominous sound, Rose notices that someone else is in the school and runs away. She comes across a kid looks like Sharon. Rose goes after the kid and gets to the room on the end of the hallway. She checks the empty booths in turn and opens the last door. A creature looks like a human is fixed on the wire, and it looks awful. Surreal things happen again and again, but Rose calms down and discovers another clue in his mouth. After then, Rose is about to move to a next destination. This time men with masks interfere her and she doesn't have any means to get away from them. The men with masks seem to be humans like Rose, but they certainly are threats to her for some reason. Once again, siren starts to sound and all the men with masks disappears quickly. When the siren sounds, darkness comes to the town and the whole town turns into hell. Also, asleep monsters wakes up. A monster in front of her crawls out bizarrely, and its appearance even causes more awful things. Creepy insects are filling up the whole building. She has no faintest idea about this town where unexplainable phenomenons happen, so she feels like she's in a maze. Then her husband Christopher comes to Silent Hill with a cop, Thomas Gucci. The Silent Hill Christopher is in and the Silent Hill Rose is in look somewhat different.
Evacuate this place as quick as they could, but disappearing. Hell, they couldn't even find half the bodies. That was the end of Silent Hill.
Rose! Rose!
At this time, Rose escapes from the lavatory without getting hurt, but another monster is waiting for her. The huge monster wearing a pyramid-shaped helmet is slow, but it looks very threatening and it chases after her. So far we've got clues, and all the clues tell us that Rose is in a fog-shrouded Silent Hill in a different dimension, while Christopher is in Silent Hill in this dimension. So even if Christopher is in the same space with her, it's impossible for him to see her. Rose no longer has power to move, and thankfully a lifesaver comes and saves her. She is Sybil. She has been running away from the monster and she comes across Rose in the corner.
Thanks.
The next moment the pyramid head broke the iron door with his sword and Cannibal Bug starts to come in the hole in the door. The monster attempts to open the door, but it suddenly stops and goes away. And the insect surrounding them turns into ash and vanishes. When darkness is cleared away, they return to the fog-shrouded town, and they head to the hotel, which is a hint.
This hotel.
When they got to the hotel, one woman was throwing stones at a senile woman Rose had seen.
Lambs without a shepherd, shepherd without a flock.
The two stop the fight and hear the story about this town from the woman. The old woman had lost her daughter in this town like Rose did, and the people in this town call her witch.
111.
The three guesses where Sharon is likely to stay and go in room 111, which is hidden.
It's here. There's a room in here.
They pass the shattered room and go after the light to the end of the room. A kid Rose has been pursuing is shrinking and crying. The kid looks the same with Sharon, but she is a completely different being, and the kid vanishes with flames.
I'm burning.
And the ominous siren rings once again in the town. The two quickly get out of there and they follow a resident to a safe church. Night comes and it seems that the monsters cannot come in the church as the villagers said, but the resident who helped Rose and Sybil gets flayed by the monster and gets murdered miserably. All the townspeople have gathered in the church and they assume outsiders are witches because they're so vigilant.
This is a sanctuary!
In addition, all the townspeople are brethren of the cult group, which is led by Christabella. The next day the cult leader tells them that this town is cursed by Satan, and Rose thinks the Satan took her daughter.
Perhaps your faith will protect you. Do you see this room?
So Rose goes to meet the Satan to the place cult leader told her. She has to memorize the whole route to the Satan before she leaves. The cult leader happens to see the image of the daughter which she's taken. Sharon in the photo has close resemblance to the Satan whom townspeople fear.
Get off her! Find her.
Sybil sacrifices herself and holds them off to let her go. Rose goes to the directions as she remembers to get out of the maze, but the next moment faceless nurses barricades her on her way. The nurses react to the flashlight in unison and they start to move to the light. Rose notices it and right away she turns off the light and holds her breath, and she sneaks past the nurses. The nurses can't see what's in front of them, so they kill each other instead of killing Rose. While they do so, Rose stays alive and gets to the end of the maze.
Congratulations, Rose.
Finally, Rose meets the Satan, and she hears the truth about this mysterious Silent Hill from the Satan who appears in a form of a kid, Alessa. 30 years ago, Alessa was bullied by classmates at school and she even got sexually molested by a school cleaner. Moreover, Alessa was chosen to be the sacrifice of a cult leader, Christabella, so she was forced to go on the scaffold. But right before Alessa was burnt to death, supernatural phenomenon interfered the ceremony and she was saved by cop Thomas Gucci, who came to the scene. So Alessa was full of hatred and rage. Satan showed up in front of her and promised her it'll take a revenge on the insane townspeople. After all, Alessa made a contract with the Satan. This explains why the kid Rose has been pursuing looks like Sharon.
She won't hurt you. Right now, I'm the dark part of Alessa.
The Satan took apart innocence of Alessa and left it in the human world, and the innocence manifested as Sharon, and it was taken to Rose.
I cannot enter while they deny their faith.
The Satan called Sharon here to complete this long vengeance, and Rose allows it to get into the body of a human Rose. At the same time, the cult leader is preparing for a stake. Innocent Sybil and Sharon are captured by them because they believe they should burn witches to purify their contaminated town.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
What Christabella says is the law and the truth of town, and the cult members only listens to her so they ignore what outsiders say. After all, Sybil, who followed Rose to this village, was victimized in stake even if she doesn't deserve it. After then, Sharon is about to be victimized by the cult leader, but Rose opens the door of the church and shows up.
Not gonna happen! It's okay, baby. Her lies. I can save you, because you're already damned! This woman uses your fear to control you.
The cult leader can't resist his desire and stabs Rose with a knife by himself. But Rose has become one with a Satan already, so she can't easily kill Rose. Stabbing Rose was a mistake of the cult leader. It summons the whole Satan here.
You brought the darkness in with you.
The church is no longer a safe place, and the cult leader, who has been committing inhuman crimes and her crazy brethren, gets revenge of Satan and Alessa. The Satan keeps Alessa and Sharon's mom alive but kills off every other people there miserable.
Close your eyes. It's just a bad dream. It's just a bad dream.
Alessa releases all her hatred and anger she's been holding for 30 years, and her revenge is done. So finally Rose can leave this mysterious Silent Hill with her daughter.
Christopher, it's me.
Rose?
We're coming home.
Christopher hasn't found his family, who's vanished without a trace. But oddly, even though all the things are over and they're in the same house, the house Christopher is in and the house Rose and Sharon are in look different. Thank you for watching Movie Goes Movie Recap. Next time, if you want to watch fun and various movie recaps, please subscribe and thumbs up.